Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, Junkman, coming back at you. Today I'm just going to kind of reminisce and show you the day in the life of Junkman when he was a kid back in 1983. I would have been going on the age of 11. So I thought we'd just kind of take and show you what a simple day in my life in 1983 was like. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. I'm thinking maybe some of you can. And I thought maybe just fun. And maybe, 20 years from now, I'm long gone. I hope I'm not going in 20 years. But, let's say 100 years from now, I'm long gone. And people's like, what was life like back in the 80s? They'll find this video. And maybe it'll help them out a little bit. Or maybe so. So, Saturday, I would say I was going to sleep in. I was probably watching music videos all Friday night. And probably stayed up late. And my plan is to sleep in. But I would probably end up, waking up about 8 a.m. I wouldn't, get out of bed. I had a little black and white TV in my room. It was yellow and black. Had 3 channels on it. 4 to 5 if the antenna was just right. Picked up some other stations, but mostly, the 3 major networks. So I would probably turn it on, probably watch a little, at that time, 8 o'clock, 1983, watch Flintstones Funnies. I think this is when they just took like the best of the Flintstones and showed them for about maybe an hour or so. But I watched 30 minutes of it at least, and then I would turn it over to Saturday Starcade, and they would show a lot of cartoons, like video game cartoons, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and I believe it was an hour, and I would usually probably, watch about 30 minutes of it, then head downstairs. I had a bedroom upstairs, head down there, look in the little pantry closet to see what I can eat, see if they had anything good, probably get me some Pac-Man cereal. I really love Pac-Man cereal, and that was, 1983, so I probably got that, put it in a bowl, probably ate the marshmallows out first, and then kind of just played around with the rest of it. I really just wanted the marshmallows, and then I would head back up to my room and maybe take the cereal up there, and at 9 o'clock watch a little bit of the Smurfs. That's right. And I think Smurfs will stay on an hour, but it'd be like 2 or 3 episodes or 4 episodes or something. But about, 30 minutes was enough, because I would turn it over to ABC and watch Pac-Man and Rubik's Cube. Yep, this is 30 minutes. You got 2 cartoons. You got a Pac-Man cartoon, and somehow they turn the little puzzle cube, Rubik's Cube, into a cartoon series. And I'll watch a little bit for about 30 minutes, and then it'd be 10 o'clock, and I would have to turn it over to CBS to watch Dungeons and Dragons. For a long time, I didn't want to like Dungeons and Dragons. I thought, it's too serious for me. I like Pac-Man, Rubik's Cube. I like silly stuff, but I fell in love with Dungeons and Dragons and would end up watching it. Then about 10:30, I would turn it over, I think it was ABC maybe, and watch Alvin and the Chipmunks. I was really into Alvin and the Chipmunks. I don't know why. I really was. One of my first albums I remember was in the 70s, where they took Urban Cowboy but turned into the Urban Chipmunks, and they did all these songs for Urban Cowboy with a chipmunk appeal. And I remember the song, Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Chipmunks. I really loved it as a kid. Thought it was the funniest thing ever. Had this song called Lunchbox that still gets stuck in my head today. Lunchbox, 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 full of broken hearts. That's when Alvin did this duet with Jerry Reed. Went right in my heart right there. So then we get to about 11 o'clock. The cartoons are dying down a little bit. Stuff I don't really care about is coming on TV. Maybe American Bandstand or something. So I'm probably going to lay there, get on my floor, get out the AT-AT, get out the Falcon, play a little Star Wars. Maybe if it's late 1983, I might pull out Castle Grayskull, Snake Mountain, and play a little He-Man. So I would lay on the floor of my room, play with my He-Man or my Star Wars toys or whatever toys I wanted to, probably till about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I would head across the street. I had my best friend Boyd, lived across the street. You heard me talk about him before. We would either hang out at his house or my house. If we was hanging at his house, we'd play a little television. If it was my house, we'd be playing a little Atari. Probably Atari. I can't really remember much of the television games. If we're playing Atari, we're probably playing Pitfall. It was big in 83. Pitfall. We always play Combat because it was a 2-player game. Maze Craze, I think, was the other one where you got a little square. You got to get through the maze. It was always a lot of fun. And then we probably played for about an hour, and then about 1 o'clock or so, we would head off to the woods behind my house. We had woods behind my house, had a creek back there, and we would jump the creek. We had vines you could swing across the creek. We had this real, I don't know who else did this. Or you find the right vine to swing across the creek. You swim across the creek and try to grab a tree, and these trees wouldn't snap, so you just let go of the vine, grab the tree, and ride the tree. The tree was slowly bend. He'd ride it to the other side of the creek. It was a lot of fun. It was weird. I don't know if anybody else rode trees as a kid, but it was. I don't think I could do that day. I'd be scared it would snap or something. But we would hang out in the woods, maybe try to build our fort, work on our fort a little bit. Never really got much there. We liked to make booby traps too. They never would work or never would do good, but we saw First Blood and we wanted to make booby traps. So we hang out in the woods till about 3 o'clock, and then it'd be time to go back home for our lunch break. And I don't know I would probably, if it was a good day, I would have Frankenstuff. Does anybody remember Frankenstuff? These were hot dogs or weenies, when they went on the bunyip, the weenies, and you could get two. You could get one with cheese inside the hot dog, inside the weenie, or chili. I love the ones with chili inside. I wish they still made Frankenstuff. Now, I've seen other brands make it with cheese inside, but I hadn't seen any with a hollow out center with chili inside the weenie. God, I miss that. So I'd probably get 2 of those and a new grape and, take a little break right there, have a little lunch, and then probably about 4 o'clock start begging my parents or some friends' parents. I had a group of friends with me, Boyd, Leonard, Kevin, Nicky. I call him Nicky. I saw him, probably about 10 years ago, and he's an adult. And I said, "Hey, what's up, Nicky?" And he said, "My name's Nick." And I was like, "Oh." So we would all hang out, maybe, go to the record bar, go to B. Dalton, hang out on the mall a little bit. Spencer's was always a really fun place to hang out there and walk around the mall. Go over to the food court, had a McDonald's, eat that. But then probably after about an hour of just hanging out around the mall, we would end up at the arcade, see who else from school hanging around there. Hopefully, I'll see somebody like Amy Covey and I could pull her pigtails and stuff. We would hang out at the arcade, I guess, for, probably most of the day right there. We would, till probably about, maybe 7 o'clock, seemed like all day to us, 2-3 hours. So about 7 o'clock, we head back home, be time for dinner. And whew, if it was a good day, I would have a TV dinner. Probably a Swanson's Beans and Franks. That's always a good day if you have the TV dinner of Beans and Franks. Whew, that's really good. So then about 8 o'clock, I would go outside. Now, like I said, Boyd lived across the street. And my brother had my older brother and sister, they're both older than me. They had friends across the street also that lived across from Boyd. And other friends from the neighborhood would come and hang out by the street light just on the corner of the street, and they would hang out and talk and stuff. They all went to school together, and it was kind of cool because this was my time to hang out with the older kids. Me and Boyd would be out there, trying to fit in with the cool older kids. We were probably about 15 or 16, and they probably didn't want us there, but we wanted to be cool, and it was more like they were here, and we were just close as we could without cramping their style. And I remember some of their friends had cars, and they drive by and they talk, and we just hang out by the street light and everything like that, and just hang out by the road. Sometimes we put these get chalk and put squares and play basketball where you had to, I don't remember the game, but a game with squares and you had to throw the basketball and bounce it to another. I don't remember. Maybe somebody can explain. Maybe somebody remembers that. But we'd hang out there till about 10 o'clock at night. Then I would go in and probably watch a little Mike Hammer or maybe Fantasy Island. Depends on which one looked interesting that day. Fantasy Island I liked, but it was kind of iffy. Kind of 50-50 if you're going to get a good one. Probably not even that much. Sometimes it was really stupid. Or Mike Hammer. You was probably guaranteed to get a good Mike Hammer episode. So I watched that. That lasts about an hour. And then I'd probably just lay on the bed, put on the headphones, probably listen to some music, some big albums in 83. Listen to Metallica, Iron Maiden, Quiet Riot. Okay, that's what you guys were listening to. I was listening to my new Hank Williams Jr. Man of Steel album for the 10th time over and over and over again. I mean, Man of Steel, Queen of Heart, Love Sick Blues. I mean, I have so many classics on there. I listened to them all. Now I know how George feels. I didn't even know at the time it was about George Jones. I didn't even put that together. But listen to that to about 11:30, and that's when Saturday Night Live would come on. Oh, I couldn't wait. I was like, oh, I hope they show the Whiners. Please, Joe Piscopo and that lady, I don't remember her name. I got to see the Whiners, or maybe Mr. Robertson's Neighborhood, where it's like Eddie Murphy doing like his Mr. Rogers character. Them two, I just crossed my fingers every Saturday night. So I'd watch that till I think it went off about 1 o'clock, and then there would always be some local movie came on the local channel. It was never no movie I never saw again. I saw it late at night. It'd be something from the 70s, something I normally wouldn't watch. Put it on and probably just doze off and fall asleep while watching it. And then Sunday, well, that's a whole different day right there. And maybe I'll do a video reminiscing about what I did on a Sunday in the 80s. But that's a look at my 1983 Saturdays, and I'd love to see, maybe did you do some of the same things I did? Maybe your Saturdays were totally different than mine. That's just a typical Saturday. You know, I did different things sometimes. It wasn't always the same, and didn't go by this schedule, you know, every week. But that was my typical Saturday from what I remember. But I'd love to hear from you how your days were back in the 80s, or maybe you're a 90s kid or more of a 70s kid. Let me know. It doesn't really matter, but that was fun. I hope you enjoyed that, and don't forget, how much you like my content, subscribe to the channel. We'll talk again soon.
Hey, Jumpman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.